and welcome Mindsets to this session of grade 12 life science. I hope you guys are ready. You got your pens and pads out and you're going to make some notes because I got Llewellyn here who's going to be taking us through the session. So what are we doing today?
Ecology and population. So
Alright.
let's see what it's like. Hopefully you've got everything ready and let's go for it.
All right, so while Llewellyn makes his way there, I'm Ty. I'm here all the time. Well, not all the time, but we alternate. You know, me, Kat, Indy. But anyway, on that note, mindset is we always tell you get on the page and get chatting. Let us know what you guys are thinking. If you're lost anywhere, if you need help, make sure you post on the page and let us know what you guys are thinking. But on that note, this is where I hand over to Lou, who's going to take over the rest of the show. Take it away.
Thanks, Tom. Well, I hope you guys are ready and I've got something nice and warm because it's nice and cold outside. So let the mind start working and let us work up some energy and then we can get nice and warm. Today we're going to have a look at population and ecology. Now, I know you've done this in grade 8. I know you've done this in grade 9, grade 10, grade 11 and 12. But that just means that you can do very well in this section. So it might be a little bit boring for you guys in the beginning, but just remember that you've had 4 or 5 years of this stuff. So that means you can only be better, get better and better and better. So come on, let's get this right. Right. I was thinking, how are we going to start it today? If we can get this thing. Oh, yes, I remember. There we go. Introduction. Population and ecology. It's very simple. If we have a look at the board, population, if we have a look at the change and the decrease and increase in population numbers and all of that as a study is called population dynamics. Now, population dynamics is something that you hear all the time when we are teaching the section because it gives a big name to this whole section, right? So remember this, okay? And we're going to go into a lot of detail of this. So let's go ahead. Wrong way. There we go. Now, first thing we're going to have a look at is species. Now, a species is a specific group, okay? If you have a look at the definition, I have put the definition up. It's a group of organisms with similar structure and functional characteristics in nature, and they can breed with each other, okay? That's the main thing. They can breed with each other, and they can breed by themselves, okay? Because we all know that you get, for example, horses and donkeys. And we, as farmers, you know, a horse is nice and fast, and a donkey is slow, but he's very strong. So what we do is we mix breed them to get a mule, okay? Now, it's 2 different species. A horse is a species and a donkey is a species. So we shouldn't mix them. Now, what I've done is I've put up 2 pictures of dolphins, right? Now, each dolphin, okay, is a separate species. Okay? You will never, ever, ever see them mate. Okay? So this one and this one, 2 different species, they're actually found in different places, but it's not the point. The point is that they will never, ever, ever mate. Okay? You don't find, as a human being, you don't find, let's see, a chimpanzee that's perfect for you, right? You're not going to go marry a chimpanzee. It doesn't do it for you, right? Whereas another girl or another boy, they make you happy and they can make you smile and you can be friendly and you can marry them and love them to bits. But this will never happen because they don't see each other in that sort of way. Okay, so species, as I said, it's a group of organisms with similar structure and functional characteristics, right? That can, main thing, interbreed with each other. They breed with each other all the time. Okay, that is a species. Okay, there it is. Species, very important. Okay, if we have a look, population. Now, a population is a whole bunch of the same species. Okay, now, I don't mean just a whole lot. So we'll take a lot of zebras. There actually have to be a lot of zebras that are different ages. Okay, so you have Big Daddy, you have little mommy, and then you have little baby and tiny little child, okay? All of them together, right? Those people together and your cousin and your auntie and your uncle and your brother and your next door neighbor and all of that makes up a population. A population does not include your dogs, does not include your cats, okay? It's only humans, if you get what I'm saying. I know I'm using humans, but we can actually use anything. So if you have a look at it, I've used elephants, right? if you have a look at elephants, right, there's a big one, and there's small ones, there's babies, there's daddies, there's mommies. So it's quite nice, okay? Now, don't forget that you get a matriarch female, which is a nice, big female, and then you get all the babies running together and they look after each other. Now, in the Kruger National Park, they will actually say to you that you have a population of elephants in this part of the Kruger Park, okay? That part of the Kruger Park, the population of the elephants is like 150. And in that side of the park, the population of elephants is 100. Okay, so a population is the same species, but just different generations of them all together. Okay, that is what a population is. Okay, nice pictures of elephants. Please remember that. It's a lot of fun. Now a community. Okay, we've gone through species. A species is a specific type of organism that can have the same characteristics. Remember the same characteristics in structure, and they can interbreed. Then you get a population. That's a bunch of species, of the same species, right, but different ages and different generations, right? And then you get a community. Now, a community is actually the species of this type of animal, a species of the other type of animal, right, and different ages together, which means that it's a whole group of different animals. So if you go to the Kruger National Park, or to the Pilanesberg, or anywhere out there, right, you will actually see that animals actually stick together. And I don't mean all the zebras are walking together and all the impala are walking together, and you actually get your wildebeest and your zebra and all of that walking together. They intermingle with each other, okay? And don't forget that you actually get lions as well. They actually depend on each other. So you have, for example, the zebra and you have the wildebeest, as you can see on the top. They actually stay together and they live together for protection, right? And then you have the lions coming along that they got to eat them, right? Remember the circle of life? We've all watched, well, hopefully you've watched The Lion King. Ty, you watched The Lion King?
It was my favorite. I've watched it a couple of times to know most of the dialogue.
That's brilliant. My son knows it as well. But if you have a look at it, they say it the best. It's the Lion King, right? The Lion King says it's a circle of life, okay? It goes, the animals eat the grass, the lions eat the antelope, the lions die, and then the organisms eat the lion, and then it gets back to the grass somehow, right? When we work with that later, I'll explain it to you. But they all intermingle with each other, right? That is what a community does. And as you can see there, it says there, a community is formed when species of the population in different kinds of habitats have the same how do I say this? They actually intermingle with each other. I'm trying to make it easy in what it says on the board. They intermingle with each other. Okay. Now, as I said, I gave you a nice example on the board of the wildebeest and the zebra. Okay. And just to prove that I am right, there we go. That's a nice picture. You'll see the wildebeest and you will see the zebra, and they're all mixed together and they're there for protection. Okay. It's very nice to remember. Okay. Population and ecology. Remember, we're working with that whole section. So we've done species, we've done communities, we've done population. Now, population parameters. Now, this is the word. Population is what's happening. Okay, we're looking at the population. And parameters means what is going to make it increase or decrease. Okay, parameters are like, how do you say? You want your cat, your dogs to not leave your yard. You put up parameters. You put up walls, for instance. I know that's not a great way of looking at it, but you're trying to stop them from getting out. If you wanted them to get out, you lower the walls, you open the gates, right? That's the parameters. That's the way it works, right? So population parameters is factors that affect the increase and decrease of a population size, okay? Very important. They're going to ask you this, and there is quite a few of them, okay? I can name quite a bit. Okay, but we're going to start off with one very small. Okay, the first one that I can think of, if I have a look at it, okay, is a warthog. If you take 10 warthogs, and each warthog is 50 kilograms. And I actually went to go look for this because I really don't know how much a warthog weighs, but I had a look, okay? They weigh 50 kilograms. The average weight of the warthog is 50, right? And you calculate it, and it'll work out to 1,500 kilograms. In other words, 1.5 tons is the biomass. Now, a biomass is how much of, if you weigh the animal and you put them all together, how many of those animals can actually stay in a specific area. So if I had to have a look at it, if at my school, right? My school's a nice big school, so we allowed a certain amount of children on there, right? But we can only have so many because if we have too many, they're going to be uncomfortable, right? And if we had to defend for ourselves by putting chickens and cows and all of that on there, right? If we do that and they had to kill them and make food and grow crops and all of that, we can only have so many people because if we have too many people, we're going to overgraze or overfeed, or we're going to kill all the animals. There's not going to be enough time for them to breed, and then we're going to have no more food left, right? So that is a big thing, okay? Now, I want you to picture this. If I can have 1,500 kilograms, right, of warthog in, let's say, 2 kilometers squared, right, in that area, how many animals would it actually be? It would be 10 warthogs, as I said. But how many elephants would it be? A heck of a lot less, right? So you might have 10 warthog, but you might only have 2 elephants, okay? Because 2 elephants can survive on that area. If you put more than 2 elephants, all the trees are going to be broken down, all the things are going to be broken, all the grass are going to be eaten. So you actually have to make sure that you do not have that many elephants in there. And that is why in the Kruger Park, when it comes to a certain part, they actually go and take the elephants and move them. Okay, that they try not to cull. Cull is a very nice word to look at. Cull is killing them it's killing them to stop them from overpopulating the area, which means it's going to damage the area. So it's a good thing to cull, but it's not very nice because you're hurting the animal. So you got to look at it in both ways. You've got to always look at the environment first. Okay, we are making sure that the elephants survive as long as possible, but they normally have a free range of a huge area, but we make boundaries around them to stop them. So we try and move them to other places that want to see elephants instead of killing them. Okay, so if elephants become too much, we move them. Why? Because the biomass only allows a certain amount of elephants. So in the Kruger Park, I don't know how big the Kruger Park is, but let's say they allowed 5,000 elephants, okay? It's maximum 5,000. So if there's 5,004, it's going to start destroying it. So they take those 4 away and either take them overseas or to another park to actually have a better life, okay? They're actually going to starve if they leave them in there. Okay, so what I've done, and as you can see, I've put warthogs over here. I always like pink, but green shows up nicely here. There's the warthog. You can see how actually small they are. There's 3 of them, and here's a big elephant. It's a big difference, right? That one will kill and eat a lot of food. That one won't eat and kill as many. Okay, so that is what the biomass actually means. It means how much animal, or how much meat, should I say, that biome can actually sustain. Okay, that is the biomass. That's one of the where is it now? It's one of the parameters, okay, as the population. Now, if I have a look, wrong way again. This board, as we found out, is not working so well today. Now, another parameter is things like birth. Okay, I'm trying to make it in a different way. You get birth. I don't want to use the big names, but birth, okay? Bringing more people or more into the community. So in other words, in your family, I'm going to call your family a population, right? Like my family, my little population, I have my wife, myself, and my first child, right? There's 3. How do I increase my population? I have another child, okay? So now there'll be 4 of us in the population, right? That is giving birth. But there's another way to increase it. Very simple. We need to get somebody to join us. So now I bring my mother-in-law to come stay with me, right? Now we have increased the population. So if we have a look at it, we have natality, which is birth. It's a nice big way to say birth rate. The birth rate, the natality, and the other one is immigration. Okay, I'm calling them in. Okay, they're coming into, or my mother-in-law's coming into my house. I know it's an M, but remember the I will come with into my house. Okay, so she's coming in. But I'm going to stop it there. What I'm going to do is give you a few seconds to write that, well, to get all this information and to soak it in. And then hopefully, if you've got some questions, please send it to Ta. We want to get you and make sure you understand what's going on. Ta.
All right, no problem. On that note, as Llewellyn said, guys, if you've got any questions, if you need any help, make sure you get on the page and let me know. Just simple. It's post and comment. Well, let us know what you guys are thinking. And again, Mindsetters, if you see another Mindsetter in trouble or needing help, don't keep the answers to yourself. Share. But on that note, we'll see you after this break. And welcome back, Mindsetters. I hope you had a nice little break there and you went and did whatever you had to do. But most importantly, you went and got yourself something warm to drink because it is cold. Even here in studio, we're shivering a little bit, and I decided to just wear a t-shirt, which wasn't a smart idea. But anyway, on that note, Mindsetters, make sure that you're ready with your pens and pads out and you're making notes, because I know you matrics, you're writing exams very soon.
3 weeks.
And I just want to say, actually in 3 weeks, as Llewellyn said, make sure that you guys have your notes ready, and best of luck. But on that note, I'm going to hand over to Lou, who's going to continue the show. Take it away.
Okay, before we left, we were talking about how to increase a population. I said natality, which means birth, making a child, getting a new person in, remember? And then immigration, as in, okay, so it's actually I-M, but remember the I meaning into the house, right? Invite somebody in to stay, okay? So they're joining the population. And as you can see, I've made a nice thing, increasing a population. You need, let's change the color because you'll never see black. You increase that one, those two, they make sure that this whole thing gets nice and big and strong and solid. Okay, so that is the way. Now, the problem is that I've been telling you about this nice word here, okay, natality. And I was explaining to you how how do you increase the population of my family? You have another child. The problem is I'm lying to you. Now you're confused. Now, I'll tell you that to increase the population of my animals, or my dogs and my cats and my bird, the natality rate there is if they have puppies. Right. But humans, we do not say we have a natality rate. Okay. We look at ourselves as special, and not a funny special. I'm talking about we are the best. Okay. So we give ourselves another name. We actually give ourselves two names. Okay, let's have a look at the two names, if I can. Next page. No, wrong one. Done. There we go. Okay. Natality, let's first just go past natality, is perfect for animals, okay? And natality will only increase if conditions are favorable. Now, why would animals mate if there's no food, if there is no water, and everything is unhappy, okay? There's going to be no mating. I can promise you now there's going to be no mating at all. There's no food. The dog isn't interested in anything. She's not going to fall pregnant if she's too hungry, okay? So the natality rate has to always, we're always worried about if the conditions are favorable to actually improve the population of that group. Okay, so that is why when you go to the Kruger National Park and the animals are thriving or being nice and strong and solid, the natality rate actually is quite good. Okay, but in the beginning when you start it, the natality rate isn't that good because they're not used to it. They're not happy with the conditions. They first need to find type of food, where the water is, and things like that. They've got to go and explore the place. Okay, so the natality rate depends on if the conditions are favorable. That's why we look at animals. Okay, if we have a look at humans, here it is. If we have a look at humans, we just extend this page a bit so we can actually see too much. There we go. This is what we use for us. fertility. Now, you've heard this word before, fertility, but we use this for humans, okay? And we only use this. We can find the fertility rate, okay? Our fertility rate that we use for humans, we normally look at 10,000 ladies, okay? And it's got to be specific ladies. They've got to be in the ages between 15 and 45, because that is the ages where we breed. Okay, so if we have a look at it, the ages between 15 and 45, and we look at, sorry, not 10,000, 1,000. Okay, I'm saying 10,000 because I remember this whole thing. So if we look at 1,000 ladies at a time, 1,000, okay, for every 1,000 ladies, we need to work out the fertility rate for them. So there is a sum we can use, okay, and this is per year, okay, so from the 1st of January to December, the end of December, right? From there, that will give you the fertility rate, okay, that we're looking at in humans only, okay? Let's have a look at it. If there are 50,000 females, okay, and they are at the right age, in other words, between 15 and 45, in other words, they can fall pregnant, okay, between 15 and 45, any ladies, okay, we say there's 1,000 children born, okay? Those 1,000 children, okay, from 50,000 people, what we do is we take 1,000, okay? 1,000 children, we divide it by 50,000 ladies, okay? And if I had to do that, it would be, let's just do it here, 1,000 divided by 50,000. The answer, if I just had to put an answer is there, it would be 0, let me just check. I think it's 0.2. 0.02, okay? And then we times 1,000. Why do we times 1,000? Because remember, we're working this out according to 1,000 children, 1,000 females at a time, okay? We're not looking at one child, one female. We're looking at 1,000 female at a time, okay? So we times it by 1,000. If that is the case, we move the comma 3 times, okay? So it'll be 20. There it is, okay? If you can see that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to erase this piece so that you can see what I've actually done. Just do that again so that you can understand it. Duh. My writing today is not working. Wait, 20. Okay, remember it was here, we moved the comma. If you're good at maths, math students must be able to do this with ease, right? We get 20. So the fertility rate is 20. Now, that is if we do it for 1 year. Now, we have another word. Now, this word here that we're going to look at now is quite strange, okay? It is called fecundity. There it is, fecundity. Please write this word down if you have a pen and piece of paper, because this is very important. The fecundity is quite strange. It works over a lifetime, okay? So from when you are 15 all the way to when you are 45, okay? That is your fecundity. It works over a generation. So for example, all the ladies that were born in, I don't know how I'm going to do this, 1985, right? In 1985, all the women that were born in 1985, they go, when they're 15, they find out from when they're 15, from 1985, they go all the way up to where they're 15. When they're 15, they have a look and they start seeing how many children all the women in 1985 start producing till when they are 45 years old. Okay, so let's take this. If I had to have a look at it, let's move this down. We can move that up a little bit. We take it, 10,000 female. I told you I remember 10,000 somewhere. 10,000 female, there we go, were born in 1985. Okay, let me just write that there, 1985. 10,000 women were born. Right, then from when they were born all the way to when they are 45, all the women in Johannesburg, there we go. Let's say Randburg, it's nicely, okay? In Randburg, all the women that were born, and they stay there, they don't leave, right? This never happens, but I'm just explaining it to you. So in 1985, the women that were born, there were 10,000 of them. Okay? And all of them together, you add all their children together. So they have a reunion at the hospital, right? At these hospitals. They call all the ladies together. They reckon, okay, here comes all 10,000 when they are 45 years old. And they say to them, okay, let me see how many kids you got. And they add up all the kids, and it comes to 25,000 children. Okay, 25,000 children for that generation, right? What they do then is they take all the children, they divide it by 10,000, so they divide it by how many mommies are there, right? And they're going to get 2.5. That means, in average, each mother will have 2.5 kids. Now, how do you have a half a child? That's always confused me, because why would you have a half a child? What, does only the legs come out and then you doctor the legs and that's going to go? Or you only have the top part of the baby? It's not really like that. The problem is, I'll have 2 kids and my neighbor will have 3. Okay, so her half and my half go together to make a full child. Okay, so, but they're looking at the average. Okay, the average is 2.5. Okay, so as I said, the average of each lady gave birth to 2.5 children. I hope you guys are writing these examples down, because they can ask you this. Okay? Don't forget, fecundity and fertility has got to do with humans, and natality has got to do with animals. Okay? Now, next thing. What can also affect this whole population number? Okay? We don't just have your increase, so your natality or fecundity or your fertility and your immigration. We also have the worst part, which is mortality. Mortality is if you die. So we have a look at your mortality. There it is. That's death. Okay? And the other one, you exit my house, you will, there it is, emigrate. So it's EX, you exit the house, emigrate. Okay, and if you have a look at it, the immigration, there it is, mortality will decrease the population. Okay, so this part will get smaller if this happens, if these two things happen. They do get smaller. Okay, now that's a good thing. I know having things die and it's not always nice, but it has to happen. I mean, can you imagine if Noah or your great-great-great-grandfather was still alive today? He'd have his own house. There'd be no more space, right? There would be too many people. There's already too many people, but what do? We still have people that are like 400 years old staying here. There's not enough space for them. Then we're not going to have a Kruger Park. We're not going to have any nice places because there's not enough space. Okay, so we have to die. Animals have to die. I know it's sad when your doggy dies, but that's the way life is. Okay, mortality is a definite thing. It is going to happen. Okay, now can you tell me why people will immigrate? Okay, people will definitely immigrate. If I put it there, I'm sure I brought it in. Mortality, first of all, mortality will come from a couple of things. Old age, okay, fighting. We all know that they fight, okay. Food, not enough food, so they die of starvation, right? That's a big thing. They die of floods, okay. So all the natural disasters, and then, of course, lions, leopards, hyenas, wild dogs, all of those things, they will kill the animal, okay. That's the mortality rate. They're there for a reason, guys, okay. Now, that is mortality, death, okay? If we have a look at immigration, remember what I said, natality depends on how happy the animals are. Now, if they are not happy in this population, why would they stay? If you're not happy with this area, why would you stay? Think about it. Let me see if I can think about it like you guys do. If you're not happy with a party, right? You're going out, you're taking a couple of mates, we rock up at the party, and it's just not doing it for you. Are we going to stay? No, we're going to go to the next party, right? We're not going to stay at that party. That party is pointless. It's not happy, so we move. That's what happens. We immigrated in, we came in, right? We sat there, we had a couple of Cokes. Nah, not going to work for us. We emigrated to another party. Ta, you know what I'm talking about?
Totally.
Definitely, because I still do it. Now, this part is also important. It decreases and increases the population, okay? Now, what else? What is the whole point of a population? Okay, we want to, in actual fact, if I give myself some more room here, okay, we actually want to stabilize a population. Now, I know I went all the way up, but I want to stabilize a population. Population stability. That is when the death rate and the birth rate become equal. Okay, now, if they become equal, the population is happy. I know it might not sound like that, but every time granddad dies, a new baby's born. Okay, that's roundabout how it works. And that doesn't mean that granddad dies now, baby's born immediately. It's not like that. Okay, what I'm talking about is if I have a look in the let's say we know South Africa, so let's say winter in July. Okay, in July we have 3 deaths. Okay, so 3 deaths, right? And in December, right? December over here, we're going to have 3 births. Okay, have you noticed how we decreased the population, and right at the end, we increased it again? Okay, as long as they balance out later on, they've got a whole year to balance out. So it takes a while. So in other words, if I had to have a look at it, it might be doing something like this. Okay, so we die and we come back together, and we die and we come back, we die, we come back. And I don't mean me, myself, but some people die, some animals get born, okay? Now that is why our population runs like that. Our population decreases, and then it increases a bit. And then it decreases, and then it increases a bit. And decreases and increases. That's when we know the population is stable. Okay. Growth patterns. Now remember I was telling you about parameters, right? And how we're going to increase these animals, or the species, or the population, the community. All of that's got to increase and decrease. Okay, now, we have a look at 2 types, okay? The 2 types that we use, okay? You guys have all heard this, okay? So it's not something new. We're having a look at 2 graphs, okay? The first one is your geometric graph, and the second one is your logistics graph. Now, one thing you must understand, that your geometric graph can be part of your logistic graphs. Okay, but before I go on to the next slide, okay, what I want you to do is I want you to think, and I want an answer as quick as possible. Okay, what is a geometric graph, and what is a logistic graph? Okay, just think about it for 2 seconds. I'm just a bit worried about going on to the next slide. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a break, and then when I come back from the break, I want as many answers as possible. Please, guys, let me see it. Ta?
All right. I'll make sure that I look out for them. I'm already on the page and peeling through and seeing what you guys have been posting. But on that note, Mindset is, as I keep saying, make sure you tell a friend to tell a friend to tell another friend to make sure that they get on the page too. But on that note, guys, I'll see you after this break. And welcome back, Mindsetters. Hope you had a nice little break there, and you didn't wander off too far from the TV, and made sure that you have a little cup of something warm right next to you, because yes, it is freezing cold out there, and I still can't get over the fact of how bad an idea it was not to wear a warm sweater. But anyway, on that note, Mindsetters, hope you're ready. You've got a pen and pad out, and you're ready to make notes, because I'm about to hand it over to Lou, who's going to continue the show. Take it away, Lou.
Perfect. Now, before I carry on, I was just told politely that it's not immigrating or emigrating a party, it's bouncing from one to the other. Ta?
Yes, that's the...
So sorry. Bouncing, not immigrating.
That's the cool term
That's
of
the
it.
cool
We're
term.
bouncing the party.
Oh, no. So we bounce from party to party, but you immigrate and immigrate from population to population. There we go. That's a nice way of looking at it.
Yeah, definitely.
Cool. So I've been waiting for answers Hopefully you've sent some through. Ta, nothing?
I'll make sure that I'm still
just
looking,
look.
so I'm waiting for them. I'm thinking they're still pretty much typing away, so.
I hope so, but I'm going to carry on. So hopefully you've done it. If I have a look, geometric graph pattern. Now, a geometric graph pattern is very cool. What happens is that the organism reproduces by binary fission. There it is. Binary fission. There's a nice way. Or asexually by mitosis. Okay. Binary fission is, you know, when a bacteria moves and makes two. Okay. They make a little part of it and then it drops off. Okay. That is binary fission. I'm not going to go into too much detail, but binary fission is one cell is making two. It's meiosis. Mitosis, not meiosis. It's mitosis. So that's what binary fission is. Okay. Now, if you think about it, can you think of your bacteria? I've already told you. Your bacteria does it. Now, the one morning you feel perfectly fine. Later on in the day, you feel a little bit, right? Then all of a sudden, you are very sick, right? And it just gets worse and worse and worse and worse. And then it lasts for, let's say, 2 days, right? You go to the doctor, you get your tablets, you get your medication, and all of a sudden, the next morning you feel a lot better, and the next day even 10 times better, and then it's gone, okay? That is a geometric graph pattern, okay? We call it the J-shape graph, okay? A J-shaped graph, if we have a look at it, let's bring this down, okay? The growth pattern expands quickly, right? And then when it gets to the top, reaches its climax, of course, we take our medicine, and what does it do? It just drops, okay? That is a geometric, there we go, and I said to you it's a J shape. Now, to prove to you what it looks like a J shape, what I've done is I've made a graph that they could actually give to you. Geometric graph, there it is, okay? Don't forget the headings when you do graphs. Please don't forget your x-axis. X-axis is always this one. I'm just going to put an X there, and a Y-axis is always this one, okay? Time and population. As you can see, the population increases nicely, but it goes fast, right? It goes fast, and then all of a sudden, if I look at it over here, let me get another pen because we're never going to see that. It goes over here, and when it gets to this part, it dies. It shoots all the way down, and then you don't finish your antibiotics. You know what happens when you don't finish your antibiotics? You get sick again, so it shoots up again, and then the doctor says that was very bad, and you get your antibiotics again, and you do it all the way down, and they're dead. Okay, they're completely wiped out. That is a geometric growth pattern. Okay, it's either called a geometric growth pattern or a geometric growth. This is called a graph. Geometric growth graph or geometric growth pattern. Okay, either one is acceptable. Okay, now the next one we have a look at is your logistic growth pattern or graph. Now, a geometric growth pattern or graph, okay, those ones is what we're trying to get at. This is the normal. You will get the geometric growth pattern in there. The logistic one has a bit of it in, okay? There's different phases. Now, remember what I said, I want you to get a population that actually goes up and down and is actually quite stable. This is the one we want. So, if I had a look at it, okay, it's also called, please write this down, guys, a sigmoid graph or a sigmoid growth pattern, okay? There it is. Make sure you write it down, okay? The reason why they call it a sigmoid, because it also looks like an S, okay? So you had your there it is. You had your geometric growth pattern, right, which was a J shape, and then you get your sigmoid, which is your S shape, okay? Nice and easy. Now, let's pull this down and let's have a look at this. There it is. Okay, now, if you had a look at that, okay, this is how this actually works. And I'm going to explain it to you in a few seconds, even more detail. But if you have a look at it, it increases nicely, and then it stabilizes, and then something happens. Okay, I know I've given you different phases, but just think about it again. Okay, there it goes, nice and slowly. Then it starts speeding up. Okay, it starts slowing down, goes up and down, and back down again. Now, why would it do that? Let's have a look. Okay. Wrong way. Okay, logistic growth patterns. The first one, the lag phase. Okay, the lag phase is when a species has just been introduced to that area. Now remember, I said to you earlier that we stick a bunch of antelope, let's say springbuck, right? We put a bunch of springbuck in a park, and in the beginning, are they going to mate? No, the conditions aren't favorable yet. They need to find out where the food is. They need to find out where the water is. So nothing is going to happen. As soon as they start settling down, then what's going to happen? They are going to start increasing, or they're going to start mating. They're going to get their natality rate up. So, excuse me, starts off slowly, fewer individuals, and reproduction is going to start going, and it'll start increasing slowly and slowly. And don't forget that when they mate, you get a gestation period. So this buck is pregnant. Baby's there, but it's not counted yet. Okay? So it takes a while for that population to increase. Okay? Now, after that, you get the acceleration. Okay? Now, look here. This is the main thing I wanted to show you, right? That with this part, okay, the acceleration or the geometric growth phase. The geometric growth phase is in the sigmoid graph. Okay, it's just that one pattern. Now, I'm going to show you again. Let me just pull this down, and you'll see it here. Hopefully you can see it. This piece here is your one that we're talking about. Okay, that is where your J shape is going to go. Now, if you have a look at that, it's not curving so much, but it can actually go quite quickly. Now, this is the lag phase. Remember I told you the lag phase increases very slowly. This one increases a lot faster. So we've only looked at these two in particular. Okay, this one slows down, this one speeds up. Okay, now if we look at the next one, the deceleration, that doesn't mean that they stop breeding. Okay, remember that all of a sudden we have 50 buck. We started off with 10, and now we've got 100 springbuck in this park. Right? Now, remember that if we have 10 springbuck, we can hide from a lion. But the minute we've got 100, what's going to happen with a lion? They're going to see them and they're going to catch them. Okay? So now we've got mortality rate. Okay? So the mortality rate increases, but the natality rate is still higher than the mortality rate. Over here, the mortality rate is very low, so the natality rate is very high. So we're going to have a lot of babies, not a lot of deaths. This one, we're going to have a lot of deaths, but a hell of a lot more births. Okay, so the births here is very good, right? The births here is even better. The births here are very poor, but they are there. Okay, so that's those three. Okay, now, if I had a look at it, I've just changed it. You get the equilibrium phase. Equilibrium, you should know what equilibrium is. Okay, we need to get everything equal. And remember, I said to you, the mortality rate and the natality rate actually have to become equal. That doesn't mean that we're going to have 10 children and 10 are going to die. We could have 10 children and 9 are going to die. Then we're going to have 5 children, but 6 are going to die. Not 6 children, but 6 other animals are going to die. So it works its way together, and it's quite nice. They work quite well together. Okay, so you get the equilibrium phase. Okay, and if you have a look at natality rate is now equal to the mortality rate. Okay, very important. Now that is this part over here that I was telling you about. This, let's change the color so we can actually see that I'm drawing on here. This piece here, so birth rate, death rate, birth rate, death rate, birth rate, death rate. Do you see how it's increasing in this one here, this line over here, by the way, okay, if you can see it, carrying capacity. Now your carrying capacity, remember I said to you that you've got this how much meat you can feed off this ground. Can you remember with the warthogs and the elephants and all of that, right? It's how much can survive. Now, if there was too many of those animals, right, what is going to happen? Not going to be enough food, so some are going to die out, right? Now, if they clean that whole ground out, there's going to be no food, so they're all going to die. Okay, so we need to keep them under the right numbers. So certain things would happen, like some of the water in this place is going to run out, but the water over there is going to survive. So a couple of animals from here are going to die of thirst. These ones are going to survive. So they'll die out, which decreases the population or the carrying how many animals there are. And then we give birth because those are happening, so it picks it up again. Okay. Funny thing is, you must look at the predators and the antelope. Okay. I'm just going to do this. This is quite nice. If I had the animals, the antelope doing this, right? If their overcarrying capacity goes like this, okay? What's nice is it actually happens exactly the same to the predators. So I can go along and do this, okay? This is going to be your buck, okay? There's your buck. And then, of course, I'm going to make the yellow the lion, okay? Very simple. As the buck increase, so do, and if you have a look at it, so do the predators. And then all of a sudden, the predators will start dropping, right? And when the predators get to a certain point, the bucks start increasing, then the predators start increasing, and then it goes down like that and up again. Now, watch carefully. Very nice to know that as soon as the buck are at its highest, what happens to the lions, or I'm going to say lions there, the lions' natality rate. Okay? The more food there is, the happier they are. So if they're happy, what do? They breed. They make new lions, right? So the lions shoot up, okay? The minute the lions get to a nice high level, now we're eating too many bucks to sustain these lions, right? So now the bucks start decreasing. When the bucks start decreasing, there's no more food for the lions. So what happens to the lion? They start dying, right? Then the lions go all the way back down. Because the lions are decreasing, the antelope start breeding again. They start going up. The lions see it, and they start going up. So they work together all the time. The more antelope there are, the more lions there are. Okay? The less antelope, the less lions. So if you if you go on to National Geographic or all these wild animal shows, right? You will always see the Serengeti lions or all these different lions, and you'll notice that they always show the struggling parts, because that is the most amazing part, is how they get through the struggles. And you will always see that one or two of the babies actually die. You will never see a whole pride of lions survive the whole bad season. Lions will die because there's not enough food. Okay, if it's not some of the babies, it's going to be the adults, because they're going to start taking chances to try get bigger prey, which is going to injure them, so they are going to die. Okay, that's how it works. Best way I can put it. Okay, so this is a nice graph to actually have a look at. They can actually put this in an exam if they really wanted to, because this here can test your ability to find out how the why the antelope increases, and why all of a sudden do they start decreasing, and how do lions play a part in it. Okay, so that is a very nice thing that they can put in. It's a nice question. Okay, so don't forget it. You must always remember that you've got to actually put life science together. You can't look at it as this happens and that happens. You must understand that they interlink with each other, because you will notice that they start decreasing, so their mortality rate increases while their natality rate is still increasing. Does that make sense? So the mortality and natality rate are both increasing, but on different animals. If that makes sense to you guys. So just keep it. Ta, any interesting questions that we have there?
So far, we have actually a couple, so I don't know how many do you want to tackle right now.
Well, let's do one at a time. Let's see what we can do.
All right. Well, basically, I've got one from Morgan. She wanted to find out, with regards to the geometric growth pattern, what caused the sudden drop in population size? Then I saw the increase again. And she wants to find out how come. Isn't the environment then resistant?
Okay, let's go back to that, and I'll show you what's going on there. One more, I think. That one, yeah. There we go. You're talking about this. Now, if we have a look at it, sorry. You were saying that you saw it rise up. What color do I have? Let's go pink again. You tell me that it's rising up, okay? Then it drops. That's not pink. That's pink. It goes up. Then you say it drops, and then you ask me, why does it rise again? Does it become resistant? That was very good. Very, very, very good. And I did that one, especially this one, for a reason. Okay? You told me the exact thing that I want to hear is as it drops, okay, we stopped taking our antibiotics. Right. Now remember, if we stop taking our antibiotics, we start getting this bacteria starts becoming immune to our antibiotics, right? So it becomes drug resistant. You're absolutely right. So we can take that same antibiotics, but the problem is it doesn't become drug resistant just in your body. So you might be able to take that same antibiotic and it will kill it immediately. Okay, so you can take that antibiotic. The problem is, the biggest problem is that when you stop taking your antibiotics, right, and this one here survives, okay, and we cough or we sneeze and we spread it to somebody else, okay, they go live and they start going into another body, right, and they start producing, and one of theirs start producing, but they still remember you using antibiotics. So they're building themselves up, making each other stronger and stronger. It doesn't mean that they become drug resistant immediately. It takes quite a long time. But that is why you got to go for your flu injection every year, because people don't take all their antibiotics, which stops it from happening. Okay? I hope that's answered your question. So please don't forget the curve. Okay? It might drop and it can come up again. But if I took a stronger antibiotic, it would die immediately. Okay? But Ta?
I think that should answer it.
Will that answer it? What else? What else do we have before I go on to the next section?
We had another one from Kotatsu. She wanted to find out what are the limiting factors that may inhibit population growth. I know we might have covered it, but I think she just wanted a bit more clarity.
Read it again to me, if you don't mind.
What are the limiting factors that may I think maybe instead of inhabit population growth, I think she made inhibit population increase.
Now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to leave that question for a reason. Okay, I'm not going to answer your question, but I want you to listen. Okay, because I'm going to answer it, but I'm not going to answer it immediately. Okay, is there another question?
But for now, I think that's about all of them.
Okay, well then, let's go to your question. Okay, before we get to your question, I know we're going to go for a break for 2 seconds. Oh, okay. If you have a look at it, let me go back. Things that will inhibit this whole thing would be your climate. So you got your climatic factors, so whether there's drought, things like that. So you got your drought, your heat, your cold. Don't forget about your your big things, your abiotic factors like your your earthquakes and things like that. So that's what inhibit the increase and decrease in the population. Okay, enjoy. Ta?
All right.
I think it's time.
Wow, that was a lot of information. Actually, I was actually pretty interested. This was a lot of information that I actually enjoyed myself. But anyway, Mindsetters that keep saying, make sure you keep posting your questions on the page and help each other out. And to the regular guys who are on the page all the time, I just want to say hi. How are you guys doing? Hope you guys are doing well, prepping for those exams. And guys, I just want to wish you all the best. And I cannot stress again, keep using the page. Talk to each other, talk to each other. But this is where me and Lou sign off and say, see you next time.